This is Michael Popok, Legal AF. While Donald Trump in Trump world is trying to do damage control, denying he even knows who Sidney Powell and Ken Chesebro, his two lawyers, even are. Who are these people? The results in Georgia of taking off the trial docket, the trial that was supposed to start on Monday against Chesebro and Powell, means that there's now a major opening in Georgia to try the case of Donald Trump. And I would not be surprised, and I just talked about it on our recent Legal AF, if Fani Willis makes a phone call to Scott McAfee, asked to come into court, so to speak, files a motion to get the Trump trial on the docket for early 2024, certainly before the November election. I've said time and again that there is one case that's a freight train without a break that's going to be in the station and trying the case against Donald Trump before the election. And that's Jack Smith's federal case in the D.C. Circuit Court presided over by Judge Chutkan. But I've also said that there is enough room, looking at the gap between now and November, which is 13 months away, to legitimately try a second case. I don't know exactly which case would be the second case, but I now know that Fani Willis has now, having proven her mettle to the extent that it needed to be and her chops as a prosecutor, taking down two of Trump's lawyers, she would be an ideal person, given the nature of her sprawling racketeering, influence, and corrupt organization act conspiracy, RICO, that's a mouthful, involving Donald Trump and now 16 others, with 3 people already pleading guilty to the various crimes. She would be the perfect prosecutor to try the case of Donald Trump, and now there is room on the docket. Let's remember there's 2 poles here. There's 2 mile markers on the highway of Donald Trump to ruin. 1 mile marker is March of 2024, and that is that freight train with no break that is the Tanya Chutkan DC election interference case. She has made it clear, including as recently as last week in a hearing, that is an immovable object, that date of the trial. And despite Donald Trump's 4 separate attempts to get the trial date moved after the November election, she is not going to do it. As a side note, Donald Trump doesn't want, let me state the obvious, Donald Trump doesn't want the trial before the election because he knows he's going to lose the trial and therefore lose the election. Because who in their right mind, and that's rhetorical, is going to vote for a convicted felon in Donald Trump? And at least all of the judges, including, I believe, Scott McAfee in Georgia, Tanya Chutkan in the District of Columbia, and probably even Aileen Cannon in Miami or in the Southern District of Florida, believes that it is important as part of our justice system that the American electorate know who they're voting for, and that Donald Trump either be acquitted or convicted by a jury, and that information be a data point known by the American electorate before they vote. I think all the judges, if you got them to meet privately over a cup of coffee in kibitz, would agree to that. And that's what they're all trying to do, keep the cases on track so that they're tried before November. We now have a new opening because the other mile marker I was about to mention is Aileen Cannon's Mar-a-Lago case. That one is May, but that one is on that's like on a slippery slope, greased with butter and Pam spray. I mean, that could move at any time. One false sneeze, and she could move that trial out of the May trial slot that she has right now. Now, she's done a lot of things leading up to the trial that some commentators suggest means she's ultimately going to move the trial, and I'm not yet convinced. That trial is 7 months away, and the best that Donald Trump can come up with at this late moment is out of 1.2 million pages of documents, he hasn't gotten 2,000 pages of documents. That is a very small number. That is about 10 days of somebody's emails or text messages when you add it all up. And that is not a number or a issue that would derail a trial that's set 7 months away. And this is the best they got right now. So I believe that trial could go. But now there's an opening on the dance card here in Georgia. And if I'm Fani Willis, I go into court soon. She was invited to do so by Judge McAfee to begin with. When Judge McAfee decided not to try what was then all 19 criminal co-conspirator defendants with Donald Trump at the same time and said to Fani Willis, you're going to have to break this up into something that makes logistical sense after we get through the first two. First two were off the board. That was going to take 5 months. That was what the judge and the prosecutor predicted. So if you're starting in October, let's make it November for when the jury would actually start hearing evidence. November, December, January, February, March, April. That's April. Now there is no trial. So if I'm Fani Willis, I say to the judge, he's in trial in a criminal prosecution in March with Judge Chutkan. I don't think Fani Willis does anything with Scott McAfee, the judge, to step on the toes of federal Judge Chutkan. She's got the lead case, and I think everybody understands that. And she's the first among equals. But after that, let's say that trial goes 3 months, March, April, May, June. If Mar-a-Lago hasn't started yet, or for some reason Mar-a-Lago has flipped, then you'd put it somewhere in the summer, right? You'd say June, July, or August for the trial in Georgia.
Lomi is the only appliance that prevents food waste from stinking up your kitchen and polluting the planet. Now that I've invested in a Lomi, it's changed the way I deal with my food waste. Lomi is the biggest innovation in the modern-day kitchen since the dishwasher. Lomi has helped me turn my home into a climate solution. Now I can transform my organic waste into nutrient-rich Lomi earth that I can feed to my plants, lawn, or garden instead of sending it to the landfill. And as a result, I can help the environment and make my life easier. In just 4 hours, Lomi transforms almost anything you eat into nutrient-rich plant food at the push of a button. It's smart, simple food recycling that fits my space perfectly. Cut the chore of doing the trash in half and eliminate bugs and odors in your kitchen. And here's a bonus. You get to feed your lawn and garden with an all-natural fertilizer that you just created out of your own food scraps. All my food scraps, plant clippings, and even those leftovers I forgot in the back of the fridge can go back into my garden, helping me grow more nutritious food at home. I learned that food waste makes up a huge portion of our personal carbon footprint. By reducing the amount of food I send to landfill, I'm helping do my part for the planet. Whether you want to start making a positive environmental impact or just grow a beautiful garden, Lomi is perfect for you. Head to lomi.com/legalaf and use the promo code legalaf to get $50 off your Lomi. That's $50 off when you head to lomi.com/legalaf and use promo code legalaf at checkout. Thank you, Lomi, for sponsoring this video.
So there is an opportunity. Of course, the Trump lawyers will try to use the Mar-a-Lago case as to block and tackle to avoid another trial. Like, we can't possibly do 3 criminal trials in less than a year. They may be right on that, by the way, but it is fun to watch the squirming going on as to whether there's going to be someone else to join Judge Chutkan and Judge Cannon as a third judge, this time a state court judge, to try a case against Donald Trump, all before the election in November. But there's now that possibility, and that's the purpose of this hot take. There is that possibility now that there could be a trial of Donald Trump in Georgia before the November election. And I think it becomes more of a reality if Judge Aileen Cannon somehow moves her Mar-a-Lago case and takes it off the trial list. We've always said, or I've always believed, that the Justice Department is using Mar-a-Lago as a stalking horse to exhaust Donald Trump, to exhaust his resources, to split his trial team up among various cases because his lead case that he's focused most of his resources on for Jack Smith, special counsel, is D.C. in the election interference case. But of course, he couldn't ignore the crimes at Mar-a-Lago, couldn't ignore the espionage, the obstruction of justice, destruction of documents, attempted destruction of evidence that's led by Donald Trump. Can't ignore it. But I think in terms of how he's now using it to whipsaw Donald Trump and his lawyers, a very thin band of lawyers that constitute a total of 4, not 4 law firms, 4 lawyers are working this case. Add a couple of more, and then you got the civil fraud case that's it's starting its 4th week in New York. And you got lawyers for Donald Trump there that overlap with the lawyers in the criminal cases, and the civil cases and the criminal cases being used to whipsaw Donald Trump. And they're doing it on purpose. And now you've got Fani Willis, I think, coming in for the coup de grace, right? Boom. We want our trial, Judge. The people of Georgia, the people of Fulton County demand it, and that it happened before the election, especially given what this case is about, which is election interference. We shouldn't allow Donald Trump not to stand trial before it. It's a compelling argument, and Scott McAfee's going to have to really consider it. And then Donald Trump can come in and argue, oh, my due process rights. I can't try all of my crimes all at the same time as I travel around the country visiting my voters in courthouses all around America. But that's up for Donald Trump to argue, and up for some sort of, Supreme Court in Georgia or appellate court in Georgia to consider. But I think Fani Willis should put the screws to Donald Trump, and now that she has an opening on her trial calendar, go into Judge McAfee and get Donald Trump on the docket. So we have 3 criminal cases, a civil fraud case that's currently pending against him, and in January, we're going to have the second defamation case and punitive damage case brought by E. Jean Carroll, who already won in May for proving that Donald Trump raped her, sexually abused her, but was the equivalent of a digital rape, as the judge noted, unfortunately, and defamation, now going after him for punitive damages and other things related to that, with another trial in January, and then he's got another civil trial dealing with fraud and the family brought in federal court. That's why hopefully you tune into Legal AF so we can keep track of all these things for you at the intersection of law, politics, and justice. I do it on hot takes just like this one, talking about here the trial calendar and the moving parts related to it, where I think they're going to land. I do it on the MeidasTouch Network exclusively. On Wednesdays and Saturdays, I co-anchor and I co-founded the legal podcast devoted to law, politics, and justice. It's called Legal AF. Yep, it's what you think. If you like what I'm doing here, give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment. It helps with the algorithms and the ratings. Join and subscribe free subscribe to the MeidasTouch Network here on YouTube, and listen to our podcast and these hot takes on audio podcast platforms like Google, Spotify, Apple, and the like. So until my next hot take, until my next Legal AF, this is Michael Popok reporting.
Hey Meidas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.